Can you all see my screen? Yeah, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I welcome everyone again. Thank you for the Startup Accelerator program. I'd like to congratulate every one of you for your courage to start your own business. It's not easy to start a business, especially during a pandemic situation. In fact, of all the professions, starting your own business is the most difficult, but it is also the most rewarding. Do you know that Uber, Airbnb, WhatsApp, Instagram, Pinterest, they all started their business during the 2008.
I'm sorry, Mr. Josh.
Yep.
We can see, are you using a dual screen? Because we can actually see your notes and everything.
Oh, let me see. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I can make it full screen so we can see the slides clearly. Thank you.
Let me see. Yeah. Just give me a second. Now you can see everything, right? Just give me a second. Huh? Can you see my screen?
No.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, it's better.
You can see my screen, right?
Yeah, this
All
is
right.
I see
good.
the screen, not the notes. Yes.
Yeah, let me just resize the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. So where am I already? Okay, so basically, based on my research that I came across, the best time to start a business is now, during the difficult economic situation. Why now, you may ask me? The reason is pretty logical. Think about it. During the COVID-19, right, many companies suffer revenue loss. Everyone is looking for a solution. That's why if you have a good solution that can address the problem or challenges that people are facing, you will surely make a lot of money. In fact, for myself, I also planning to start a business now. In fact, I plan to launch maybe in 2021, because for my market research, I think that there are a lot of inquiries of the kind of services that I plan to offer. That's why for this Startup Accelerator program, it's designed to help you to increase your chances of success in your entrepreneurial journey. The module build on one another as you progress. There are exercises in between slides for you to practice. So all this will help you to expand your thoughts and think deeper before you clarify your strategic planning. It is very crucial that your strategy formulations, right, is carefully thought out, as your entire business plan is dependent on it. It will lead to whether your startup will take off or fail in the future. So today's session will be pretty light. It's not going to be heavy. It will warm you up for the coming session that we are going to cover over the next 2 weeks. Today, I will touch on some global trends that are developing, regardless whether there is a COVID-19 or something else. Nothing is going to stop this trend. In fact, COVID-19 actually accelerated the adoption of this technology. I will tell you where to place your bet if you want to start a business today. So without further delay, let us begin. When I design startup advice, my intention is to help you to expand your thinking so that you can develop a great startup idea. To develop a great startup idea, you have to ask yourself this question: are you solving a meaningful problem? It doesn't matter of your industry background. This question applies universally across all industry. Customers buy your product or services because you help them to solve a known problem that is pertinent to them. Now, solving a problem is one. The next question that follows is, how big is that problem? Does it happen often? Is it painful when it happens? Your answer to all these questions will demonstrate whether your business is scalable. The second objective for tonight is that I want to bring to your attention some common mistakes that startup founders make. This mistake can be resolved and should be addressed immediately to avoid the painful consequences. The third objective is to help you to raise funds the right way. Now, the structure for tonight, we will start with expand your thinking, right? And how to spot opportunity that others can't. Now, the ability, once you learn, it will be part of your second nature. And you'll know where to look for great opportunity. I will share with you how you can do that in the next few slides. Now, when it comes to making mistakes, I am no exception as well. You see, every one of us make mistakes, whether big or small. Making small mistakes are fine, but you should avoid making irreversible mistakes, meaning mistake that is too big and you have a very hard time to repair it. Sometimes it can even be beyond repair. For example, a fallout between the co-founders due to disagreements. But you can avoid them. In this session, I will share with you what are those mistakes. And to raise funds, there is a right way and the wrong way. I will share more on the important factor that your business must possess in order to increase your company valuation in the next module. But what you will learn tonight is the basic mechanics. This will prepare you for the later module that I'll be covering. Earlier, I mentioned in order to expand your thinking, you need to ask yourself 3 questions. Firstly, are you solving a meaningful problem? Secondly, can you spot opportunity? And thirdly, I mentioned the ability, right? Now, by go through these 3 questions, they will help you to assess your startup idea. How solid is it? You need to know this because it will help you to build a strong case for investors to consider investing in your companies. Do you know who is this guy? Do you recognize him? The competition is for loser. This is an article written by Peter Thiel in 2014 and was published in Wall Street Journal. Peter is the founder of PayPal. He is also the early investor in Facebook, Airbnb, and SpaceX. It was the talk of the town when his $500K investment in Facebook turned into $1 billion return. So you can see here that Peter has very sharp business acumen when it comes to evaluating the potential of a startup. Peter looked at a startup and asked this question: can the company create and capture lasting value? Now pause here for a second. This is not an answer for the founder. See, based on Peter's experience, the truly great companies are so far ahead of their competitors. And because they are so far ahead, they literally have no competitors. So what he's trying to say here is that, and propose, is that founders should build a monopoly business. Now, is that possible? You see, when PayPal invented digital payment industry, there was no competitor then. They created this industry for themselves. They changed the way people make money. That's what it means competition is for a loser. Now, this was years before the launching of Apple Pay, Google Pay, Alipay, or even the rest. Basically, they are 10 years ahead. So with this understanding of Peter's investment philosophy, you will appreciate why he invested in Facebook, Airbnb, even SpaceX at the very, very early stage. So he basically spotted the business opportunity that not many people can see. Now, this is lesson number 1. If you want to be truly great, you create a new industry. Today, PayPal capitalization is around 200 B, which is equal to 5 times more than all US airlines combined. Now, that is truly amazing, right? You see, airline is an important industry. Despite rising passenger number, yet they still lose money. Airline definitely create a lot of value by flying passengers from one city to another and from one country to another. Unfortunately, airline could not hold those value for a long period of time, thus converting them to a lasting value. Why? The reason is why. They operate in a very cutthroat industry. See, airlines compete by undercutting each other. This is truly a red ocean. There's really no different flying mass, AirAsia or even Malindo. Nowadays, basically the fare they charge are so competitive. Having said that, a point to note here is that when AirAsia started, it was truly disruptive as it provided Malaysians with an alternative. It disrupted the airline industry in Malaysia and permanently changed the landscape. Now, Mars was basically caught. They were disrupted, and even until today, they struggle to find a foothold. Now, there is a lesson to be learned here. You see, Mars has been monopolizing airline industry for many years. We have no other option because they are still cheaper compared to Singapore Airline. And we don't have to transit in Singapore so that they offer us convenience. Their problem started when AirAsia launched a low-cost alternative. Now, AirAsia disrupted the revenue model by stripping non-essential items off the air ticket price. Now, in order to sustain their low-cost model, they disrupted the traditional operational model of an airline. Now, for example, they switched to online for self-booking, right? They started self-check-in. Now, all these operation improvement helped them to bring down their costs. Mars Airline could not respond in time. It is always difficult when an incumbent has been so comfortable for so many years, right? There are so many legacy issues for Mars to address. They can't just throw prices because their business model was not built for that purpose, for running a low-cost airline. Unfortunately, today, for Mars, AirAsia, Malindo, and the rest are all suffering from the impact of COVID-19 pandemics. This will be a short-term situation, no doubt, but air travel will kick back into high gear eventually. However, during this recovery period, due to airline high debt loads and the need to service the interest payment, cash flow will be a big challenge for them, especially with reduced revenue. That's what AirAsia is doing now, is to try to sell off some assets, to raise funds. Right. Now, before I go further, let's do a quick exercise. Can you all see my screen? Can you all participate and post your answer in the chat?
Oh, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any idea?
We can't see your screen now.
Hey. Sorry, just give me a second. I tried to look at the chat.
Mommy, Daddy, I want to eat.
Ah,
Daddy,
Mm.
I want to eat.
so basically the question I asked is that, do you see an opportunity in disrupting airline industry? Yes or no, right? And what is the major problem with air travel?
It's a yes and cost for me.
It's a yes for you.
Yes, yes. The first question, my answer is yes. And the major problem with air travel, I think, is the cost. Back in the days, like maybe 10 years ago, before before AirAsia started the business, the cost to fly, it cost a bomb. It was really expensive to fly.
I see. Beside the airfare, any other suggestions?
I got nothing much, just the airfares.
Anyone else? Any? Let me look at the chat now. Okay. Hard to travel. Okay. So basically, how do you all feel when you travel, say, from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur to London? How do you all feel?
Well, honestly, to London, yeah, I feel jet lag, like major jet lag.
Correct. Correct. Especially for long distance travel, it's basically a time. It takes too long, right?
I have to take a lot of volumes.
Yeah. So basically, I share with you in the next screen, share with you guys in the next screen. In fact, in this transportation area, there are company who wanted to starting to disrupt. And it is possible to disrupt airlines, even though airlines have been in around for how many decades already. Let me share with you guys an example here. Can you all see this?
We're driven to explore,
Can you hear the
to
sound?
connect, to innovate.
We can hear, but it's very soft. The sound is not loud enough.
How about now?
Time has come to ask
A bit
ourselves,
Better.
what is the future we want to build?
All right, team. Please confirm you're ready. Ready. Capcom, you are a go for launch countdown.
Pegasus, this is Capcom. Prepare for launch in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch.
Today, the first people traveled safely on a Hyperloop. Tomorrow, Virgin Hyperloop will change the way the world moves with an on-demand, sustainable mass transportation system that connects cities in minutes. The future of Hyperloop travel is real, and the moment is now.
So you all remember when earlier when I started, I mentioned that, to build a successful startup, a great startup is to solve a meaningful problem, right? So now Hyperloop is by Virgin Group. Virgin Group was founded by Richard Branson, right? But the idea itself of Hyperloop actually came from Elon Musk. It was a paper he published in 2013. In his paper, he actually mentioned that using aerodynamic aluminum capsule, which saw, and magnetic levitation to transport passengers through a vacuum tube, they will be able to potentially travel at a speed as fast as airplane, but with a fraction of the energy used. So this tube can be off the ground, you saw in the video, and can be also under the ground. This sounds like crazy idea, right? But Richard Branson actually believed in this idea. So in fact, just 2 weeks ago, on the 8th of November, Virgin Hyperloop hit a major milestone, which I showed you the video just now. They completed the first test with human passengers. Now, this test was conducted in the facility outside of Las Vegas. How fast does this capsule can travel? At maximum speed is about 600 miles per hour. So how fast is that? So basically, you can travel from Los Angeles to San Francisco, which is about 380 miles in under 30 minutes. So that's how fast it can travel. Right, so you can see, of course, an interesting question is by when Hyperloop will be launched. From what I read so far, I think potentially within the next 5 years, you will see something in the US. Now, this is lesson 2 about technology evolution. So now it's about half an hour. Does you guys want to take a break?
Good.
Huh?
I'm good.
Shall we take a 5-minute break before we come back? Because this one is quite heavy. All right. So everyone, this is a very important diagram as it shows you how technology evolved over time. With the invention of new technology, it unlocked new opportunity. Now, how to read this diagram, we always start from the left to the right, yeah? Now, the invention of electricity has transformed the world. It gave birth to the invention of light bulb, refrigerator, radio, TV, aircon, the list goes on. Now, automation was invented subsequently. Manufacturing, transportation, communication, and consumer goods all benefited from electrification. Now, but that's not all. Electrification led to the invention of computers. With that, space exploration was started. Because without computer, complex mathematical computation was simply humanly impossible to get done, especially for calculation for the flight path to and fro and around the Earth orbit. The world, after we harness electricity, looked totally different than the one before it. Think about it. Is it possible to have internet without electricity? I think the answer is it's not possible. I hope you can appreciate why electrification is so important to mankind, because it makes possible for other new innovation to take place. Personally, I see invention of electricity as a cornerstone technology. Now, why I say cornerstone? Because they are innovation that sit on the earlier technology. Without the earlier technology, the subsequent innovation it cannot happen. So today, internet gives rise because of electrification. Now today we have e-commerce, we have social media, we have video streaming and internet banking, right? Now under the frontier, there are two technology here will stand out over the next decade. Number one is 5G, and the second one is blockchain. 5G will be the next cornerstone technology. Now, that will transform communication, transportation, and healthcare. You will see the rise of autonomous vehicle, remote surgery, Internet of Things, drug discovery through AIs, right? Now with blockchain, you will see tokenization of asset, removal of middlemen, the next generation of internet, a highly secure internet governed by blockchain technology. Let me explain now. Earlier, Brian asked me, I recommended him to read this book, Life After Google. It's written by Josh Gilder. Who is Josh Gilder? Josh is a futurist by profession and was known as the person who first predicted the invention of iPhone. That is 10 years before it was launched. In fact, there was this talk that Steve Jobs actually purchased his book and shared with his staff. So that's kind of like urban legend. So this is Josh Gilder. I think now he's about 80 years old. Now come to blockchain. Personally, I feel that blockchain will seriously disrupt the financial sector. What bank offer is really about trust. Now, if blockchain can give you that trust securely and irrefutable and with lower fee than what the bank charge you, when we reach that state, you don't really need the bank anymore, right? So basically, I also purchase cryptos, right? I buy USDT, which is a Tether coin, right? I bought it and I store it in a wallet, right? And that wallet actually offer me interest of up to 10%. Now tell me, today in bank in Malaysia, can you find any banks that offer FD at 10%, right? Which is almost never heard of nowadays. That's how blockchain is, I personally, I feel is very, very innovative. So your role as a founder is to explore how you can adapt new technology into your business operation to make it more efficient, thus bring down your costs so that you can compete better. You should ask questions on how this new technology will change the way people spend, shop, and consume content. Now, earlier I mentioned 5G and blockchain in the next decade will be the next cornerstone technology. So in your businesses today, you should explore, how 5G, how blockchain can help you in your business operation. So through this approach, you will expand your thinking and you will be many steps ahead of your competitors. Now, under the new frontier column, those are the new technology that you should keep them in mind, right? To give you some clue on how fast technology is evolving and how far we are into the new frontier, you take a look at this picture. So this is a two-seater autonomous aerial vehicle created by Yihang, a Chinese technology company. This is the world's first commercialized passenger drone. It is currently being deployed in some popular Chinese tourist spots. It offers tourists to ride the drone to explore those beautiful sites that are hard to reach by foot and by car. So this company is listed in NASDAQ. Personally, I bought some share in Yihang. The reason why I invested, I bought some share in Yihang because I love the company because Yihang reimagined transportation. Remember, this goes back to the problem again. One of the problems Yihang aimed to solve is the traffic congestion in all the major cities in the world. And second reason I invested is because they are riding on one of the mega trend, which is the electric vehicle trend. So in Yihang case, you can see that they are solving a very meaningful problem, that is traffic congestion in cities. So a reminder again, for whatever businesses that you're doing now, solving problem is always the key to a successful startup. So you keep that in mind. Now this is a table that I've drawn up. It shows you another important trend. Can you see what has changed over the past decade in 2000, 2010, and 2020? I just focus on 2020 column. Look at the company that are dominating the top 10 positions. Oh, by the way, these are the top 10 largest company in the whole world by market capitalization. By looking at 2020, you notice that 6 out of 10 are technology companies. You can see you have Apple, you have Microsoft, you have Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook, and Alibaba. This trend tells you one thing. If you want to succeed in the future, your startup company must include technology element. You may say, I'm only operating a small business, so it's okay. But COVID-19 has proved everybody wrong. Many SME, not just only in Malaysia, all over the world were impacted because why? They are not digitally prepared. You see, when computer was first invented, it was resized in computer lab because of its size, right? Now, years later, Microsoft popularized personal PC through MS-DOS and through a Windows operating system. And through that, we see mass adoption of computers. And many innovations follow subsequently. Now today, smartphone has seen mass adoption. Every one of us is literally holding a supercomputer in our hand. Now, why I say that we are holding a supercomputers? Do you know that your iPhone has more computing power than Apollo 11, which landed on the moon? Therefore, to inspire you, as a founder, I think you have every chance to make it big today because of the availability of technology. To bring home my point, the importance of technology in today's business environment. Do you know that Zoom, which we are using now, it become so popular since the beginning of 2020, has recently overtaken, hear this, ExxonMobil in terms of its market capitalization. Now pause for a moment. ExxonMobil is a how should I put it? It's more than 50 years old. And Zoom is only 10 years old. Think about it. Why Wall Street are pouring billions into technology company? Why? Because this is where the future is. If you want to attract investor to invest in your company, you must have technology elements. That basically there's no excuse, right? Like I mentioned earlier, now everybody has a smartphone, right? So that everyone is holding a supercomputers. So if you don't tap that trend, right, and you still stick to the old ways of doing business, eventually you will lose out. Now come to lesson number 3. Ability to scale is another very, very important concept. Why technology companies dominate in the future? There's only one reason, because they can scale very, very fast. For example, I take you through an example now. You start a lawn mowing business in, say, in Petaling Jaya, right? Your business is doing well. But for you to expand, you need to buy extra lawn mowers, and you also need to hire workers to operate them. This increases your capex and your salary costs. Now, imagine your friend started developing a better version of Microsoft Word, for example. But at the same time, you started your lawn mowing business. Your business is growing fast because it is simple to start and operate. But your friend took 2 years to perfect the code and started selling on the 3rd year. However, on the 5th year, your friend's revenue has overtaken yours and the business is extremely profitable. Now, why is that? You see, your friend is developing a software. He or she only need to create one time. There's no further capex investment or hiring of workers. That's why software companies until today, they could deliver the highest gross profit margin among many industries. So when investors assess the potential of your company, they will look at your ability to scale. If you can scale fast and with reasonable increase in cost, they will definitely be interested in your companies. So now let's look at, let's do a quick exercise. What are the 3 important questions to ask in order to expand your thinking? You can post your answer in the group chat. Let's do some mental exercise. Any answer? Alvin, any answer? You see any answer there, Alvin?
Yes, the first answer came from Brian. Okay, so his answer is, what problem do I solve?
Correct.
Then Deepa, her answer is, are you solving a problem?
Yes.
And then Ed Zahrin is also the same thing. Is it solving a big problem?
Correct. A big problem is the key. So a meaningful problem, precisely.
Okay.
Any other answer?
No.
That's all. Huh? How about, I think you guys missed out the spotting the technology trend. What are the mega trend now in the market? Earlier, I mentioned 5G and also the blockchain. Those are the mega trend. And also the last point I mentioned, can my business scale? Right?
So Deepa once again mentioned, can you spot the opportunity? And then Mim Malik answered how to handle big problems. And lastly, Veni said how and what technology would help to scale.
That's
so
correct.
Anas also said that what is the value that you offer?
Correct. Value propositions.
Yes, and Hanafi said how we do it fast, the system basically.
Good. So I think everybody's on track, and I think every one of us understand the concept, right?
Yes,
First thing first, let me repeat, you have to solve a meaningful problem, right? And how to tap technology to help you to expand your businesses, how to use technology to bring down your operation costs, okay? And the third point is how you can use technology to scale your businesses, right? Cool. Let's move on. So I have created a list of questions here where you can use it to assess your current position. You can do it tonight, right? Answer them objectively. They will help you to fine tune your business idea. and make a solid business proposition. It doesn't matter whether you don't get to answer all these questions, or maybe you don't fall into any of these category, or maybe you don't have an answer. I think it's fine, but it's a good exercise that you should go through this list, right? To help you to, brainstorm, to see whether you actually hit all these lists, all these questions, whether to make sure you're on the right track. I take you through the question by question here. Are you hunting elephant or hunting mice? So what this question trying to say is about your market size, because market size will determine your future revenue, right? And this in turn will impact your company valuation. So if you want to increase your valuation in the future, investor will ask you, hey, what are the market that you're targeting, right? If you're only targeting a small niche, then definitely you can't command a high valuation, because this will affect your how much revenue you can generate in the future. So you always aim for a bigger market. The bigger the market, the higher your company valuation. So come to question 2. Is your startup technology clearly better or much cheaper than your competitor here? Here we are focused on the technical capabilities in terms of better features, or your product can perform better. Or is your comparable technology that you're using can be developed with lower cost? So that's about question 3. Question 2. Question 3 is about scalability. So how fast and how cheap can you scale, right? 4 is about modes. Now this mode, this word came from, if you watch those medieval movies, where you have castles, right? Surrounding the castle, you always see a moat, right? So moat basically is your competitive advantage. So when you defend a castle, the wider and the deeper your moat, it increases your chances of surviving a siege. So similarly in business, right? If your startup has unique manufacturing technique, technology patent, etc., all these are your competitive advantage. Your competitor could not just copy your technology, therefore you are protected. Question number 5, clear path to profitability. What I've seen in Asia, startup generally will take 24 to 36 months to break even, but this is not cast in stone, right? But why 24 to 36 months? Provided that you have a good value propositions and there is a product market fit, typically it's about 24 to 36 months, you'll see break evens already, right? If you are not hitting that, I would advise that you may want to revisit your value proposition again, right? Now, how fast can you break even also depend on the business model that you're building. For example, a marketplace, it will take longer time to break even. Take a look at Grab in Malaysia, right? They are not profitable yet in 2020, but they are dominating the ride-hailing and the food delivery segment. So path to profitability is a common question that investor will ask you, because they need to determine how much you need to become profitable. This will set the amount of money that is required for the runway to continue until profit is in sight. So investors also wanted to minimize their shareholding dilution through rounds of fundraising. So if you can reach break even and eventually turn profitable, right, in the shortest of time, then you will definitely attract investors. So this thing, you should keep them in mind. You must always have a solid marketing plan in place, to execute. So I've explained the 5 questions. So please try it out at home. As this is a self-assessment that will help you to clarify your strategy so that you know where you need to focus next. Everyone so far so good? Before I move to the next module. All right. Abun, any questions so far in the chat?
I think all, let me check the group chat. All I said, okay, all good.
All good. Huh? So I think I have 33 slides here. I need cover almost halfway.
Okay, all right.
So now I go through the common mistake that founders make, right? So how you can avoid them. So mistake number 1, Now, this is very, very common. You started a business because you just want to make money. Yeah. You don't really care about the problem that you are solving. Now, so this is a serious mistake, actually. You see, over time, right, your customer can tell whether you really care about their problem, because this will display through your conversation or through your reply to your customer. So on top of that, you will lose passion and motivation when you face challenges. That's why my advice to startup founder is that always, choose the problem that you are passionate about, and you really want to help to solve this problem for your customers. You see, this energy, right, will come naturally, and all this will show in your sales pitch and also in your investor pitch. So, so remember, keep this in mind, so that you also don't fall into this trap. I think everybody want to make money, but to make money, to generate the kind of passion that can motivate you for the long haul, right? I think that's even more crucial. Now, missing number 2. You may be good at marketing, but you can't write a computer code. Now, and among your circle of friends, you can't find a suitable candidate. So you ask your friend for a recommendation for a technology partner, right? If this is the scenario that you're facing, you need to have an open and frank conversation with your potential co-founder. Now, both parties need to be transparent about each performance, goals, and role. This is very important to ensure your company can survive when hard times come. Trust me, hard time will surely come. It's just a matter of when. Each of you need to understand each other's character, strength, and weaknesses. If you understand your partner well, both of you can leverage each other's capabilities to survive the difficult time. The synergy between you and your co-founder is very important. I saw many co-founders, they broke up because of resentment when facing challenges. Then finger pointing will start. So therefore, it is my advice is that it's better to have an open and transparent conversation with your co-founder. Try to get to know each other, say by working on a smaller project first, get to learn his style of working, his character and attitude. So then you can avoid breakup, in the future. There are some company actually folded up because of argument, co-founder dispute. So all these things can happen. So keep that in mind. So mistake number 3, this one is often overlooked by founder, especially if they are not a marketing person, right? Why I say that? Now, many of them, they don't track, they don't measure how the user landed at your website, right? So if you don't have a website, then you need to track where your users are coming from if you run a marketing campaign. Founder overlook this area for many reasons. They are not aware on what they are missing here. See, if you have a website, you use Google Analytics, and it is extremely useful to help you to track your website statistics. If you are using an offline method to reach out to your customer, then you have to think of more innovative way to track. The reason is that most media platforms in the market are for the masses, which means you can't track. Thus, they are referred as the mass media. However, say for example, I work for Star Media Group, right? So we are selling newspapers. So when advertiser put up an advertisement in our newspaper, say a full page, full color, typically we charge about 60,000 per ad, and you ran the ad for one time, right? And the paper will distribute to all the taman in the Klang Valley, for example. There's no way for the advertiser to track, right? They will not know which customer have read the advertisement. That's why mass media has a disadvantage compared to Facebook ad, to Google ad. However, there are advertisers who try to overcome this by using promo code or redemption code. So you may insist your customer to use them to get discount or for gift redemption. That's how this kind of offline advertiser track offline marketing. So eventually, the feedback, whether coming online or offline, will give you valuable insight on your customer behavior and where they are coming from factors indicating on area where you should focus your marketing effort. So this is especially crucial for startup, as your capital is limited. You really have to make sure every dollar that you spend do provide you with a return. So that's why as a startup founder, my advice is that you must track so that you know where are the traffics coming from, right? Then you know which marketing channel is effective. That's where you can focus your marketing dollar on those channels. As for mistake number 4, now some founders have good idea, but they delay launching their product because they feel that they are not ready. This is another common founder mistake. See, your role as a founder is to quickly test your idea in the market to assess its acceptance. Customer will give you valuable feedback, which you should incorporate them into your product to improve them further. And you really need this feedback because these are market testing that will guide you in your decision making. Without them, you are basically flying blindly. You are making decision based on your assumption, and that is very dangerous. This also explains why founder lament after rounds of product failure. You see, there's always no perfection in your first launch, right? Product development is a constant iteration process. So you need to continue to fine tune and improve your product. So if you have any startup ideas, don't delay in launching your product. Test it out, so at least you get the feedback and then you can improve on your product and services. Now, starting a business is no easy task. That's why I say all of you guys tonight, you guys are the champions, you are the heroes, right? So you see, there is a constant learning and improvement here. Besides, very often you will receive both positive and negative comment about your product and services. Don't be too worked up if someone gives you a negative feedback. You should take it positively and take it as a challenge and to see how you can. Now to do that, you should adopt a third-person mindset. With this technique, you will set aside your emotion and see things more objectively. I remember in my past, I've seen a founder who reacted, after the investor made comment, right? So they took it very, very negatively. I think we all should avoid all this, take it positively so that you can incorporate those feedback, right? And see how you can improve your product and services. Right, so there is an exercise here. What are the 4 common mistakes that founders make? Can you post your answer in the group chat, please? Alvin, can you help me to track? Alvin, are you there, Alvin?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute. Okay, yes, I'm checking. Strategy planning from Mim Malik. Shamim answered strategy planning.
Okay.
Sorry, starting, Deepa mentioned starting up just to make money, not passionate enough. And,
yes, that's correct.
And EJ said bad cash flow, and Vaini said delay and fear of launching.
Correct, that's correct.
Spot on, everyone.
Yes, I think everyone understands.
Deepa also said the same thing, delay launching of any new idea.
All right.
Providing value to the people. Anas, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. That's good. That's good. Let us move to module.
Kalai said can't expect criticism.
Yeah. I mean, some do take it very, very badly. Unfortunately, this is still a human character. Okay, module 3. I think this is the exciting part. In this module, you will learn why founder raise money, when to raise money, and how much to raise, and what is your startup valuation, right? So let us find out. Why raise money? There are only 3 main reasons why founder want to raise money, right? To grow, to expand, and to achieve profitability. Founder need money to grow from prototype to product development. Founder also need money to expand to new area to open a new outlet, to launch phase 2 of the product development. Some founders also need money to execute marketing campaign to achieve profitability. Now, these are all valid reasons to raise funds. Now, in addition to these 3 reasons, there's one more, which is at the seed round. Meaning you have an idea, you need money to prove whether it will work or not. So usually at the idea stage, all right, angel investor will participate at this stage. The Startup Accelerator Fund that I started for Star Media Group, we too participate at the idea stage and at the prototype stage. Now, I would say that this is the most earliest stage, and it is also the most dangerous stage. So the risk of failure is very, very high. Basically, you are betting on the founder's capability to execute the business plan. But the plus side is that the valuation at this stage is lowest. So of the 20 million fund that I manage, I actually invested in 4 startups. Out of the 4, 3 close shop, right? So you can see there's a 75% failure rate. And the one that's still hanging around, in fact, was handpicked by MDEC, if I'm not mistaken, during 2014 or 2013 when Barack Obama visited Malaysia. So the founder actually presented his it's a device, we call it HypoBand. It's a band presented to Barack Obama together with the minister, then was Prime Minister Najib. So what's so special about the HypoBand? So I tell you a bit of story here. So when the founder created HypoBand, it's basically to take care of his father, right? So his father is type B hepatitis patient. So what this means is that for this kind of, sorry, not type B, type 2. So what happens is that when the sugar level is low, the patient will enter into a hypocalcemia stage, I think. All right. So the only way to administer to them is, it's actually quite simple, is to feed them, the person, with a sugar water. But if you don't administer the sugar water in time, right, in half an hour, the patient will enter into a coma state, right? So because the founder then he was working, you know, sometime nighttime, in the middle of the night, he don't know what's happened to his father. That's why he invented this HypoBand, right? Pair with the smartphone, and underneath the HypoBand, the band itself, there's a sensor. The sensor actually detects the cold sweat. So when hypocalcemia attack comes, right, the patient will secrete cold sweat, and the sensor will pick it up. So once the sensor pick it up, it will send an alert to the smartphone, and the smartphone will send an SMS to the caretaker. So in this case, it's the founder, the son, or to the mother, or to the rest of the sibling. So with that, then the son immediately can rush over to administer the sugar water to the father, right? So I thought this idea was fantastic. And there was a good story behind, because it's quite inspiring, right? And what I like also about this HypoBand product is that it's the phase 2 development. Now, imagine, right, when the patient wear this wristband, and many patients wear this wristband, there's a lot of data he can pick up, right? Under phase 2, in fact, he's picking all this data, right? He can actually do a predictive analytics. He can actually predict, okay, during today, right, at what time the hypocalcemia attack will come, right? So with that prediction, he actually can inform the patient in advance, hey, today, maybe at 3 p.m., this attack will come already. So please make sure before attack comes, you drink enough sugar water so that you can prevent this attack. So I thought that is, which is the next phase, and it's very attractive to me, right? Because this data is very valuable. Because all these data, we can actually share with pharmaceutical company, drug companies, you know, where they can discover new solutions to help patients, right? Now, when to raise? From what I have experienced in the past, founders that can convince investors to invest in their companies are those that have proven prototype. So for that reason, I would suggest you put in money to fund the prototype phase. I won't go into the details now on these 2 concepts. I will share more when we reach the business model innovation module. Then we dive deeper on the tool to use to find product market fit and business model fit. The most important thing that you need to remember tonight is that you need to convince investors that your idea is real. The market that you are addressing is sufficiently large. Therefore, market validation is very important here. Now, to show this, you either prove that you sold your product to some customers, or you manage to convince some company to use your product. Now, all these efforts are demonstration of market validation. Now, think about it. Wouldn't it be easier to convince investors if you personally have proof that they are customer for your product or services? You will definitely speak more convincingly when you pitch to investors. And this is the best time that you should raise funds to grow. How much to raise? It varies from one company to another. But the same principle applies to all startups. You see, you should raise the amount of money that you need to reach profitability. Therefore, your objective is to grow as fast as you can to reach there with the money that you have, or to convince investors to give you that capital to reach that point. Now, I will repeat again. Your number one objective is to reach profitability as soon as you can with minimum rounds of fundraising. You should keep that in mind, because the more you raise, the more of your shareholding will be diluted. You should therefore treat each raise as the last round. Investors who have invested in your company will prefer you practice this to protect their shareholding as well. So based on my experience, seed round investors usually ask for 20% equity if they want to participate in your companies. 20% is kind of like a market practice that I've seen. They won't ask too much because they also do not want to discourage the founders, right? Because they want the founder to remain as the majority shareholders, so that they are, continue to be motivated to build the businesses. Now, what is my startup valuation? I have been asked this question many, many times. Unfortunately, there is no formula to calculate the right valuation. The most common method is to use PE multiple. For technology companies which are still loss-making, they will use revenue multiple to value their companies. So very common is that startup will combine both PE and revenue multiple method and come up with a range of valuation, right? Then they will choose the valuation that give them the most comfort. Another way to calculate valuation is founder will use comparable method to identify suitable valuation, meaning they will compare with a similar startup or similar company which are listed. So from the market cap, a discount factor would then be applied to bring the valuation down to a satisfactory level. See, your objective is to find the valuation that you are comfortable with, that will allow you to raise the amount of money that you need with acceptable dilution. So it's more like an art rather than a science. Another method which you need to pay, So this is to engage consultant like Big Four to conduct a valuation of your exercise. But my advice is that you should not use Big Four, because even for Big Four or even for McKinsey or BCG Group, they will use similar method. So they can use PE method, revenue multiple, comparable study. They use discounting cash flow, right? Eventually, they will come out with a range, and they will ask you to choose, right? Within this range, and what valuation that you're comfortable with. So I really don't see there is a point to pay a consultant to do this. So eventually, no matter which method that you use, it will come down to negotiation, right? To you, the market valuation may be fair, but to the investor, they may think it's too high, right? So it's always it's a negotiation process. So to improve your negotiation power, I have seen startup founders approach media houses like Star, the Age, Media Prima Group to initiate a coverage of startup companies. So what they've done is that they invite all these journalists or reporter to come and have an interview session, right? So they talk about their businesses, what they do, their customer segment, that kind of things, right? So with that, they get a lot of publicity. So the objective here is to create publicity, to create public awareness of your company, so to boost the interest and eventually, hopefully, your valuation as well through press coverage. All right, we have another, tell me, what are the 4 common methods to value a startup? Can you post your answer in the group chat, please? Alban, can you look at any answer or not, Alban?
So far, Brian said PE, DCF, and Deepa said counting cash flow.
Discounting cash flow, yes.
The innovation, Anas mentioned the innovation and patent value.
All right.
And Deepa said comparable method.
Comparable method.
Sorry, comparable method.
Yes.
And Ahmad Hanifi said he is lost. Sorry,
I think
lost.
just now, Deepa, I think Deepa, right, the lady.
Yes, Deepa.
Brought out a very mention about patents, right?
Comparable method, yeah.
Who mentioned patent?
Patent was mentioned by Anas, the innovation and patent value.
Okay, good. I think that one, he brought a very good point here. That definitely is a one method to increase a company valuation, right? So let's say if you patent your whatever tag you have, right, and you lock it into your balance sheet, maybe this one definitely you need a consultant to come in to do a valuation, right? So with any technology that you patented, it will definitely increase the valuation of your business. So keep that in mind.
I like to, sorry, can I just probably give my 2 cents of,
Sure.
thoughts. I think probably a easy way for maybe Hanafi also for you to understand company valuation is just like your house valuation, property valuation. So let's say now you own a house, okay, and you want to wait. Let me just switch on the camera. So, for instance, if you want to value your house, evaluate your house value, you have to, get the bankers to do a valuation, right? They will send their valuation team to come and value the house, and based on that value, market value only, you will be able to determine the price and sell the house, right? Correct, George? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's very much similar to that. Your business also has a value. And that value of your business, when you leave it to a professional to value it, and from that value only you will be able to swap your equities and in terms in exchange of investment. So is that pretty similar analogy?
Yeah, definitely. So maybe I share with everyone an example. I think 6-7 years ago, under Star Media Group, I acquired a technology companies. The company is PropWall. So PropWall, basically they are involved in property classified website, right? So in Malaysia, the number 1 player is iProperty, and number 2, you have Property Guru, then followed by PropWall, propwall.com.my. The reason why I acquired PropWall is that we started starproperty.my, right? That website we have been running for many years. Unfortunately, there was no traction. There's not enough traffic, right? So then my advice to the board is that, hey, we have been trying this for so many years already, right? We are not heading anywhere. The reason why I say that to the board is that we are a newspaper company, right? Internally, we don't have the DNA, right? We don't have the DNA of a startup, right? So we definitely can't do it. So we need someone from outside, right, with which is entrepreneur, right, that will help us to transform our property vertical. So then my mandate was to go to the market to scout for an asset, because there's no point in building a property site from ground zero all the way up, even though we have the financial mean to do it, but it doesn't make sense, right? So, and iProperty is already so far ahead. So we scouted PropWall, and why I like about this company is that the founder was Joe. He is a software engineer, and I like him because he is smart in first place, right? How smart he is, right? He can actually read a coding book today, a new code, say Ruby on Rails, right? He can read it today, and the next day he can start building a website, right, using Ruby on Rails. So that's how smart he is. And the other thing I like about PropWall is that he can compete with iProperty and Property Guru, which is many times bigger than PropWall. How he did it? So that's a question, right? Now, what I found out was that Joe is very good in SEO. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. So the way he built his property classified site is that, let's say, for example, you go to the website, is built using a silo concept, right? What it means by silo is that they will list out all the property, right, by Taman, SS2, right? Taman Mega, Taman Sara. So before you go deeper into the listing itself, about SS2, the surrounding of SS2, do you have school, do you have hospital, do you have field, that kind of thing. So with that, it funneled the traffic into the actual property listing itself, right? In a lot of action in the Google search engine. For example, I look for a double-story link house in Mont Kiara, right? So his listing will come out in the first page of Google, not just the first page of Google, but his position most of the time will be the top 5, either 1 or the 4th spot, right? But for iProp to compete with Joe, right, they have to buy Google AdWords so that their listing will go above Joe listing. So that's how Joe is. And that got me interested in his property website. And that's how I invest, right, and acquire his entire equities and engage Joe as our chief technology officer at that time. So that's how I transform the Star Property website will be focused on the new launches. For example, new launch SP Thursday, right? They will go through the main Star Property website, right? Then if marketing have property they can sell, or funnel to PropWall, which focus on all the sub-sale, right? So that's why that's how we build the entire marketplace from the new launches and sub-sale. Basically, we cover everything. So that's the concept of how we transform Star Property vertical. So with that effort, we actually make quite a lot of money for Star Media Group. Okay, let's move on. So what does investor look at when they are listening to your investment pitch? Now, this one, you got to be careful here, right? I've listed some important points here that you should take note. Investors want to know what market insight that you have that offer you an advantage over your competitors. Investors also want to know the problem that you're trying to solve. How big is that problem? Because the bigger the problem, which I mentioned earlier, the larger the market size. And that determines your potential future revenue. And also you have to bear in mind that when investors listen to you, they are also observing you. They are doing a mental assessment of your capability, your passion, and whether you have greed and fortitude to execute the business plan. See, all the aforementioned points will give investor a clue on whether you are building an ordinary company or a legendary company. And what about the last point? Make sure you're off the investor waiting list. Just in case you're not aware, investor, they do have a waiting list here. Right? How do you know if we are on the investor waiting list? So let me share with you some sign, if you're on the waiting list. So usually what they will do that they will say, you know, we need more time to look at your proposal. When you call them, they say, we will come back to you. Or they will say, my partners are looking at it now. So the worst case, they don't even pick up your call or reply your email, right? So those are the signs that you're on their waiting list. You see, investors are, whether you're angel investors or they are private equities or venture capital, right? They are very experienced professional. They have their network to cross-check on deal flow. Personally, I do that also. When I invest in a company, I will cross-check with among my peers, right? To find out more about the founders, their backgrounds, you know, before we actually look deeper, right? So all these investors, they know what is hot and trending in the market. They know which deal would easily get them on a good exit. So I can tell you now, they have their own pipeline, right? To push investment to a bigger investor with deeper pocket. That's why if your idea is good, right, they will call you and put you on a fast track. So that's a sign to tell you, you know, whether you're on the waiting list or you're on a fast track, right? So if you're on the fast track, they will definitely call you because they know your company worth a lot of money. Now, that's why at the beginning, I say you guys are the hero and the champions. Right? Running a startup is the most difficult profession. It's a long, long journey. And I can tell you along the way, you will face a lot of rejection. Unfortunately, this is the path all founders must walk. Let me tell you a true story to inspire you guys. See, I have a friend who started his ringtone business in his mid-20s. Right? That was about, I think, many years, about 20 years ago. So he listed his company at the age of 28 in Busan, Malaysia. And he cashed out after 5 years later. So he told me he bootstrapped then he worked extremely hard. And there was definitely a lot of late nights. And today, after he cashed out, he's a very successful entrepreneur and also a very well-known angel investor in Malaysia. Right? So I share this story to encourage and to tell that, you know, the path will be very difficult. And I can tell you frankly, not many will make it. But if you have a strong character and the willingness to learn, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So this also emphasized the point I made in my earlier slide that having a co-founder that shares similar value as yours will be very valuable in your journey. Why I say that, there are companies I invested, there are several founders, you know, started the company halfway when the cash dry up, right? And the co-founder, some of the co-founders don't want to pump in more money. So eventually it just drop off. So this kind of thing will happen one. That's why as a starter, when we design this accelerator program is to make sure to equip you with the skill set and the knowledge. I would say at the end of this course, you are more equipped than many founders out there. That's why Alban mentioned earlier at the beginning that encourage every one of you, please don't skip any of the programs or any course, any module in between, right? Because each module build on the other. So if you skip one, then you may find it hard to catch up again, you know. So that's my advice to every one of you. All right. The fundraising process itself. Yeah, most likely will be raising fund from either angel investor or from firm. Your company now, I think most of you will be fall under the angel investor category. When I mention firms here, I am referring to private equity and venture capital collectively, right? So when you are dealing with investors, most likely be dealing with individuals. So their vetting process is a lot more simple and more straightforward because eventually they are the decision maker. Whereas for firm, there will be several levels of review before they come up with a final decision, right? Because there's a protocol they need to follow. Angel investor usually will come in at the seed round. For private equity and venture capital, usually come in Series A stage. The firm will come in at a later stage. There is a reason behind, because they have an investment mandate that dictate the minimum sum per investment. So at seed round, the investment usually is just too small for them to participate. Therefore, one thing you need to remember is that you always maintain a good relationship with your potential funder, even though they don't invest in your company. So you should, my advice is that you should keep them informed, provide them with regular update on your progress. Right? My advice is that you don't sour the relationship. You see, you must understand the investment community is small. I mean, in Malaysia, it's even smaller, right? So words do pass around. You do not want to jeopardize your future fundraising chances. Personally, for me, I do that also, right? When when say a startup come and present to me, right, and I decided not to invest, so they ask founder who keep me informed of what they are doing regularly. There are some who just you didn't invest my company, so I cut you off. I don't want to contact you anymore. So there are this kind of founder out there also, right? But for those who keep me up to date of their progress, right, I will keep them in mind. Right? Put it this way, I keep them in mind, right? So I may not invest them in the past, but it will not stop me to relook at their portfolio again. I mean, their companies again. Or if I don't want to invest because it doesn't fit into my investment team, but nothing stopped me to pass that deal to another investor, to a PE or to a VC, because they too have an investment team. So you have to remember, you see, different PE or VC in the market, right? Each of them invest into different teams. Some focus in entertainment, for example. Some are into technology, right? So you see, the market is actually small and also very, very, very structured. That's why my advice to you guys should not sour the relationship. Keep the investor informed of your progress, right? You never know, right, when the money will come in the future. So the fundraising process, as you can see in the slide, is not complicated. You need to be clear at what stage that you are in now, so that you approach the right category of investors. If you do that, it will reduce your frequency of disappointment. Sometimes, I heard a lot of complaint where, founders say, hey, nobody look at my companies, But sometimes I ask, hey, who do you pitch to, right? So you must pitch to the right investors, If you're now at seed stage, right, you pitch to a PE, for example, right? But definitely they will not be interested in your company because you don't fall under their investment mandate, right? And the amount of money that you're asking is just too small for them, right? So you keep them in mind, keep that in mind that, you should look at where you are now, right? And do you fall under the angel investor category or the PE or the VC, right? So a PE and VC, they usually come in as Series A. So at this, let's say you started your company, anything less than 3 years old, you're still considered a seed, a startup company. So they will not come in at this point in time, okay? And always remember to use a spreadsheet to track your meeting outcome and progress with your investor so that everything is done systematically and orderly. Now, let's touch briefly on investment pitching here. But in a separate module, I will cover more details. Because there's one point here I want to emphasize to everyone. You see, you must understand your investor audience. This is crucial. Not all of them are technical people. So you really have to remove as much technical jargon as possible. Try to understand the idea. That you need a clarity of thought here. And to achieve clarity of thoughts, you try to break big problem into smaller problem. This way you will help investors to better and your. So what with that, I hope you can see that pitching is not a rocket science. If you can follow systematic steps, you will do well, right? So there are founders which I came across, they can't present, right? So when they present that time, is kind of mumbo jumbo, so all the thoughts are all mixed up, right? So, but in this course, in this program, in a later module, I will explain how you can do it in a more structured manner, even though you may not converse well in English, right? But as long as your thoughts are organized, right? The investor will appreciate that, okay? Now, you should look for what kind of investor. At Series A, you should look for what kind of investors. So Edwin, can you help me to track, please?
Okay, sure. Right, so you can type out your answers in the box and we'll read it out. So at seed round, so this is, seed round is the early stage round. You should look for what kind of investors. So Brian has answered, seed would be friends, family, fans, correct? Yeah, they're all known as angel investors, correct? Nicholas said angels, like, yeah, angel investors like family and friends, very good. Brian also mentioned VC and PE. Sorry, not Brian. Brian and Ruben mentioned angel investors.
Very good.
Yeah. So for Series A is venture capitalists, correct? And yes, Dynamic Resources also mentioned angel investors.
Yep.
For Series A, who should you look for? These are your answers for Series A. Not the Italy Serie A football. We're talking about investment Serie A.
Yeah.
Yes, Serie A is VC and PE, correct? Yes, PE, private equities and venture capitalists. Very good, Vinny.
Yep.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, good.
In fact, there's a trend I observe nowadays in US market where VC increasingly going down the food chain, right? They're going down into an earlier stage. So that's a trend now in America. There's a reason why they go to the earlier stage is that it will offer them a more higher multiple of returns. So that's a trend now happening in US. So having said what I shared earlier today, you guys most probably in a seed round, right? But nothing stop VC to come in nowadays lah. Especially that the another trend I want to share with everyone is that just in case you're not aware, Airbnb will be going for IPO. They just filed a paper, most probably in beginning I think it's Q1 2021. So the other interesting IPO I'm observing now is DoorDash. DoorDash is also a food delivery business in US. So all these are startup companies that remain non-listed for more than 10 years. So there is a reason why PE and VC keep them very, very silent, very, very quiet in the market. But they themselves actually participate at the very early stage. So when they go for IPO, definitely there will be a lot of excitement in the market because all these are well-known brands. Airbnb, DoorDash are all very well-known. Personally, for me, when I invest at the seed stage, I basically betting, like I mentioned just now, on the capability of the founders to execute the business plan. So likewise, for any other investor out there, they are all looking for leaders, someone that can execute the business. So how far can you go in a fundraising really depend on how you can impress your investors. So it doesn't mean that you have to be a fantastic orator, like Barack Obama, or you just need to be authentic and be yourself, right? There's no single personality type for a great leader. So when investor invest in your company, they are betting that you as a CEO can execute the business plan. So you can imagine that how much weighting they put on leadership. So what I discover is that all great leaders share 3 common traits, which I'm going to share with you guys tonight. So here are the 3 traits, right? Great leaders think and communicate clearly. And great leaders show good judgment about people. And great leaders have exceptional personal integrity and commitment. Right? Now, again, these 3 traits are not rocket science, right? In fact, you can actually learn and improve yourself with practice, except for the last trait. This has to do with your character, whether you are a person of high integrity or your integrity change with circumstances. But as for commitment, it has to do with will you hold fast to solving the problem even under financial constraint, or you will crack under pressure. So as you can see, it is not difficult. If you put your heart to it, you can be molded to become a great leader. How soon that day will come, it will depend on how much effort you want to put in, right? So this is the summary for what I covered so far. So these are the key takeaways that you should take. Important point here, that is the clarity of thoughts, right? Always precede clarity of language. You see the highlighted area? I've seen many founders fail in their pitching session because they could not get the clarity of thought sorted out. So in order to have the clarity of thought, the best approach is to write down what you want to say on a piece of paper. You will discover what you want to say makes sense or otherwise. So this exercise will help you to organize your thoughts. You should try this before your next pitching to investors, all right? This is what I share here is based on my experience and based on how I see founder overcome their shortcoming. And also it helps to spend some quiet time each day to think, to sort things out, right, before you start the day, right? So in closing, I leave you with this quote: your personality type doesn't disqualify you as a great leader. So what this means is that everyone can be a great leader, whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, as long as you can do the 3 traits exceptionally well. In fact, I want to add one more. You see, not all of us are born with silver spoon, right? And not all of us attended Ivy League. That means Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, all these schools. And not all of us are born with natural talent, including myself. But all this can be made up by working harder to acquire the skill and knowledge that you need to take you there. Apply the wisdom of a great leader that you admire. Because of your tenacity in this pursuit, all these good attributes of yours will naturally surface one day, projecting your leadership capability. So class, that's all for today. So any questions so far?
You can unmute to ask your questions instead of typing it out on the chat box. So anyone who has a question, please unmute and ask.
It's the pitching, is a live pitching or online pitching?
It will be online pitching. Just like how we're doing it now, it will be online. Everything is online for now because of the current COVID situation. So yeah, I'm going to do it all online.
So Brian,
Yep.
so beginning of this today's session, you asked me about blockchain, right? So I share with you some blockchain information. In fact, if you are delving into blockchain, I think you're on the right track. In fact, that's one of the mega trend, and this trend will continue, right? Regardless of COVID or no COVID. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the early encouragement.
I think for Ferdas, right? I think we have spoken earlier. He is involved in genetic testing.
Genetic testing.
Yeah,
interesting.
that is also one of the mega trend now. Genetic testing, because with genetic testing, right, will come with precision medicine. Right? So precision medicine, that means I can prescribe drugs to you based on your condition. You understand? So it'll be more effective. And that one definitely will bring down the insurance cost in the future.
Oh, it's like a disruptive trend, huh? The disruptive trend.
It is disruptive. Yeah. I think Sam in his session, he will talk about more on 5G. 5G is definitely another cornerstone technology that I think every one of us should take note of.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Because with 5G, with the kind of communication speeds, many things can happen. Yeah.
Hi, George. Was wondering what are your thoughts on the cloud kitchen?
Sorry?
What were your thoughts on cloud kitchens?
Cloud kitchen, yeah, that is a spin-off from the what they call the food delivery business, right?
Yeah, basically just no storefront but delivery only brands.
Yeah. I think in Malaysia, I think even in the US now, this is an upcoming trend. But I don't see much investment activity in the space now. But in Malaysia, I think it's still at the starting phase, right? This kind of trend.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, delivery business or the food delivery has been expedited because of COVID. So
yeah, basically it's cloud kitchen for this setup, this kind of business model. You don't have a storefront. Basically, you don't serve walking customers. Everything is through delivery model. Yeah, Nicholas?
Yeah, exactly.
Nicholas, you there?
Yeah, I am. I mean, basically, or maybe what are your thoughts on food delivery in general?
Sorry?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on food delivery in general?
Okay, so what business objective that you have in mind?
Basically, we're a spice manufacturer.
Do you see your business, say, 5 or 10 years?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, because I'm a premix spice manufacturer, so we are actually trying to control the whole supply chain all the way to delivery to our customers. Yeah.
So basically, you are into vertical integration. You have the supply and the front end now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So which means you can control your cost much better than your competitors.
Yeah, to a certain extent as well. Then again, it's just I would say branding in the sense, because that's how you essentially get customers. So yeah, that's basically it.
So may I ask, under your cloud kitchen, what are the food that you're serving now?
Basically, I have 2 outlets now. One in my factory in Sunway Damansara, and I'm launching another one in Future X in Sunway.
Okay, to fulfill your logistic, you use Grab?
No, I actually partnered with Lambo Move for that. So I have dedicated riders to push down my delivery costs.
I see. So to deliver food to customer usually take how long?
Basically for our food, because we serve grain bowls and salad bowls, so it's 10 minute prep, and delivery is about 20 to 30 minutes, because we only deliver around a 5 to 10 km radius.
Okay, good. So basically, to me, I order Grab food also. I compare them to earlier, you have Foodpanda, right? Before Foodpanda, you have also another company, right? Some, the bad experience, some of those delivery took 2 hours to reach me, right? So I was very upset. I believe in this business model, I think speed of delivering the food is the key. So if you can control that, that element, so I believe you definitely have a business model there.
I see, I see. All right.
So nowadays I will stick to GrabFood because they can reach me half an hour.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm Cole here, Josh.
Hello.
Yeah, Cole.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, cool. We can hear you.
Okay. So I just want to have your thought about logistics. What do you think about the logistics industry in Malaysia?
May I know what kind of logistics they are involved in?
Warehousing, shipping, air freight. Yeah, like I said, land, sea, and air transportation, which includes custom clearance. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically shipping lah.
Yeah, shipping lah. It can be shipping, can be air freight. I mean air. Hello.
Yeah, the line is not very clear.
Okay, let me just ask on behalf of Go. So George, Go wants to know how's the logistic landscape, or rather the logistic business in Malaysia so far, right? Go, you want to know that how is it faring in Malaysia, especially with the current situation right now?
Because
so
yeah. I think the line.
George, is it your line?
I'm not sure actually. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So probably I won't talk about Malaysia. Personally, what I have done is that I share more about US market, right? What happened in US market? Say you're in a lorry transportation businesses, right? You transport a container from Portland all the way to Penang, right? Using a lorry. So what happened in US now that this kind of transportation business typically the highest cost besides your diesel is your labor cost.
Yeah.
Right. You have to pay the. So the labor cost is quite high.
Yes.
In US now, in fact, it's happening. All right, it has been launched already. In fact, Amazon, everybody, also Walmart also involved in all this thing. So what they have done is that they use autonomous vehicle. So it's a self-driving truck. It's in US now. It's happening. Okay, so eventually, I mean, starting in this in US now, and nothing stopped this kind of trend happen in Malaysia also eventually, right? But I don't see it in the next 10 years. But for you as an entrepreneur, you may want to explore this kind of technology, right? In fact, with autonomous vehicle, right, there's no driver there, right? It will significantly bring down your cost and boost up your profit margin. So hopefully with that can inspire you a bit. Okay.
Okay. Then, yeah.
Well, this trend you can't stop it one. In fact, with when 5G is ready in Malaysia, nothing stop them from happening.
I see. Okay. But of course, this one needs the Malaysian government intervention also. Because it's not easy. Because we're talking about when we want to start off with the haulage or the trucking company, so we need to have license. So the license comes from the the Ministry of Transportation, and it's not easy to get it lah.
Yeah, definitely. But
it's not easy.
You also must have the infrastructure ready in Malaysia. But what I shared with you just now is to give you some idea what is happening in the transportation industry in other countries.
Correct. True.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also would like to add on that currently I co-own a courier company, which is almost similar to logistics. Courier only thing does the delivery to home home deliveries, right? One of the disruptive trends that might be taking place in the next many years to come is that even drones are now starting to do deliveries, you know. So yeah, I think this is it all boils down to Industry 4.0, you know, the 9 pillars, the Industry 4.0. So this is also another disruptive trend. But nevertheless, as the demand increases, the demand in online shopping increases, there's always business. And but at the same time, it's also very competitive. I don't know about you, but I think my business is experiencing a very high competition right now. So
very
very
much.
high competition, right?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, so that is why we have to
Not
stay.
easy.
So on one of the coaching sessions, our trainer Ragesh, Mr. Ragesh will be sharing on how to stay ahead of competition using Blue Ocean strategy. So don't miss any of our sessions. All right, so it's already 10:30 and we're about to end our session for tonight. And is there any more questions before I call, last call for any questions? Please unmute and ask your questions.
Tomorrow we start at 9 o'clock, right, Alvin?
Okay, tomorrow we are going to be starting our session at 9 a.m. So I will, as usual, open the floor at 8:30, 8:45. You can start coming in already. Okay. And sharp 9 a.m. we will start our session. Tomorrow is a full day session. So when we start early, we will finish early. Or rather, we start on time and we finish on time. And we will also have breaks in between. All right, your lunch breaks and all that. So the first half of the session is between 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the second half of the session is 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. Right? Okay. So if there's no more questions, then I will...
sorry, Mr. Owen. Sorry, George. I just want to ask just now. My question is, as a startup, I really afraid that once I launch the product, then the competitor will easily copy my system and product. So how we can prevent that action?
May I know what product is that? Huh?
Actually, it's a computer-based product. How to say it? I want to innovate the product where can detect sense computer problem.
Okay.
So
is it using sound?
It's using, how to say? Actually, it's just really from the base idea. It's just an idea just now.
Oh, I see. So still at the idea stage, lah.
Yeah. So
the reason why I asked you whether it's sound, right? There was a startup I came across. Is in Europe. So they actually using sound, right? The hardware itself, using sound to tell whether the machine is it breaking down or is it due for servicing and maintenance. So it's kind of like a IoT, Internet of Things devices. Okay. So are you doing something like that?
Yes.
Okay, that would be great. If you have that kind of sensor to detect when the computer will break down, right? So this kind of technology, you can actually patent it.
Okay.
So the patent itself will provide you with the protection.
Oh, okay. So the patent action will prevent.
Correct. People from copying you, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
But the only downside is with patent, I believe you plan to launch it in Malaysia first, all right? In Malaysia first, then you roll out into other regions. So applying for patent itself, it can be quite expensive. Because the patent itself, you go by country.
Okay.
So you keep that in mind.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, good question. Interesting. Any other questions?
Okay, so we will be sharing the materials for all our sessions and all the trainings. We will be sharing it with you on WhatsApp, the link, and also the recording. We are recording all our sessions as well. Those upon request, those who want the recordings, we can send it to you as well after the whole sessions are completed. All right, provided that all of you have to attend the sessions. Just because we are recording it doesn't mean that you will be missing it out, because SME Corp is, as I mentioned, we will have to send a report to SME Corp, and they will also be in the sessions observing. So please make sure that all you fulfill all the requirements for the sessions. All right. So thank you all so much once again, and I wish you all have a pleasant night and sleep. Have a good sleep, and I'll see you all tomorrow at 9 a.m. Okay. So thank you, Mr. George, for an amazing session. There's a lot of feedback in the group chat. Just to let you know, a lot of our participants have actually given a very positive feedback to you, and they have said that your session was fantastic. So thank you so much, Mr. George. Thank you so much for your time.
So actually, my intention for today's session is to inspire every one of you, or to share with you ideas, what is happening in the world and what are those trends, right? In fact, you don't have to be the company that introduced something new. In fact, there was a company I invested also. They introduced Airbnb concept in Malaysia. So because they bring in this concept in Malaysia, they become the #1 website in Malaysia for people to look for room, short-term stay in Malaysia. Right? So basically, you can copy someone else's idea and implement in Malaysia. Just like Grab idea also, they follow Uber, right? Yeah, they don't have to be the #1, right? But they are the #1 who bring this concept into Malaysia, right? So because you do that, or you did that, right, there will be investor comes in. Okay. I hope that inspire everyone.
Thank you. Definitely.
Okay, we have a long session tomorrow, man.
Yes, all right. Everyone get a good rest, and we will see you all tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you all. Good night, and stay safe.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.